So, as you can see, if you go from this side, like that, then you can't save them. But remember about this forcing. Okay. And now let's move two more concepts that I feel that Dons should know, and some Q might not. These two are very, very applicable during games. If you know these 2-3 moves, it'll help your game flow out a lot. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bottom right here. So we can see that white has a nice influential wall that might happen in some of your game, but there is some forcing move in there for black to invade. So let's say one of the key attack for this shape down here, as you can see, okay, let's say white or something like that, okay, because it's black down here. So one of the key shape here to attack is this, right? And if white just connects passively, then with the shoulder hit like this, black can reduce the moil down by quite a lot, and makes black's life a little bit easier. And not only that, you got other forcing move for end games later on that black can play, and these moves are huge for end game. So you just got to make sure when you do defend your area, you do it the best way possible. And you definitely cannot tiger mouth and peep this because of the liberty issue down here. So this leaves an Atari, and you definitely cannot do that. That is total failure. And you definitely don't want to connect because of the reason I said before. For endgame purposes, like, these forcing moves are huge. So what can you do as white? If you do something like that, then it lets black do that, and stuff like that. You know, the shape of white's not very nice, to say the least. And you know, so what do you do here? Well, a nice tesuji would be the hanging down or pushing down tesuji, and you're gonna see this in a lot of games where it'll work. So now what does this do? This, first of all, very big end game move, right? It leaves the possibility for white. You know, I mean, black could still plays moves like this, but now for the future, for endgame, white has a lot more possibility to reduce that corner. But if black does choose to cut here, then black falls into the trap. So what you do here, see if you guys can see how to play to get out of here. This is a squeezing tesuji. Basically, you Atari, then you double Hane because black has a liberty issue. And as you can see, that push right here is working very well now. And let's say if black Atari, then you would just play from the bottom And now black is in a dumpling shape. So it is very simple technique, but very effective. So next time, remember, and this shape does come up a lot during games. Next time you see the shape, remember, this is one of the options to defend. Okay. Now black can do something like this, like jump out now, which is fine, but this drop will let you connect underneath later. Let's say if you did something like this, now white can connect from the bottom. So it's very, very useful, as you can see. So remember that one. And I'm sorry guys, I don't know the name of these things or the correct name. I just, call it push down. Forget what the name is. But it's one of the basic shape one. And then this top one, I feel like is very, very, is what differentiates a Don from a Q, okay? Now, what a Q would play, okay, what a good Q, strong Q player would play is, obviously, right, you don't want to defend as a white player. You don't want to defend here. That is very, very passive. So what do you want to do? Well, some might say you want to push here, right? Something like that, which isn't bad for the shape. But there is a better move, because this technique will let you keep sente as well. Just it involves sacrificing one more stone. So do you see it? Basically, this is called the leading tesuji, or the pushing tesuji. So where you push your opponent and then you push through the weakness and force them to respawn while you build up your strength. So basically what it involves is an Atari from this side. So when black does that, these are all forcing move here, as you can see. So white have successfully separated this stone, yet still has sente. And even then with sente, you can still play stuff like this, right? Because black would have to force to defend something like that, and then, you can do something like that. But whatever you want to do with your sente, that's fine. But the point is, remember, some in this shape is sometime you can force Atari your opponent and then push through. This application for game happens all the time, and I'll try to find some real game application attacks methods to bring to you guys today. So, but these are the 4 problems and the 4 type of problems that I feel like most Don should know. And if you're Q and you know it, that's great. And make sure you are able to read it out, and it'll help you in the game a lot. So let's move on to some more problems. All right, let's move on to these 2 problems. One is, I think it's a great problem that I'll leave for you guys to solve later. But let's go ahead and look at the left problem here, okay? All right, well, actually it's 2 problems in 1. Whereas this is the crane's nest, and I think most of you that I'm gearing this lesson to knows about the crane's nest, but if you know, let's illustrate. So pretty much here, black is capture, right? Black cannot escape this. If black try this, then you can capture black with the crane's nest, right? So outside situation, this is a crane's nest, we know that. And so black has 3 liberties left. On the inside, white, you can see, has a group, and let's say if black try to reduce the liberties here of white, white has 2, but white is on the edge, so white can play stuff like this with a hanging, and black really can't approach. Let's say black do this from the outside, then white can approach from this side. And then if black does that from the inside, even though white has only 2, it's actually 3 now, because let's say, okay, so white approach here, then black do this. When white plays here, black cannot approach anymore. So, as you can see, black would have to capture this. And though that leaves white to capture this 3 stone. So, what can black do here? Black obviously cannot push over here, because then black would have to defend this stone also, right? So, can't do that. And if black do that, let's say black do the drop down, white can just connect, and now white has 4 versus 3. So, and this actually occurs a lot in games sometime. If you have a big group that only has 3 liberties left, and you chase white to the side, but then lo and behold, it's 3 versus 3, and what are you supposed to do, right? So basically, the tesuji this is a famous one. You should know it, but if you don't know it, then you should learn it and remember it, because it is huge during games if you can play this. This is called something petting the raccoon belly or something. I don't know why it's even called that, you know. It's just a edge tesuji, basically. So here, you're forcing white to connect, right? White can't drop down because you can just drop down, descend like this. Doesn't work. So white has to connect, and once white has connect, the nice thing about it being on the side is white still has only 3 liberties after it connects, and then you can just keep on forcing it. Nothing white can do about this. White would have to capture. You descend, and as you can see, white is dead. Now, what if white played the strongest reply to that tesuji with the second hanging, and now we do this 3 versus 3, but we can't approach from the outside because then white can just do this, and then we are totally dead. Right? So what can we do here? We can't approach from this side either, because now that's 4 versus 3. And we know we can't do that. Definitely can't do that. So what is the next move? Well, this is the key move to this tesuji. Once again, it looks strange, right? It looks so strange, but that is the key move to do it. So now, you're basically removing a future liberty from white. So now white is forced to connect from either side. If white do something like that, then you can just Atari here and kill it. But if white connects, as you can see, this stone right here prevents white from having 4 liberties. So we can still push right here. Let's say white did something like that. It still doesn't work. And if white did that, capture, Atari, push, 2 versus 3. Still good here. So this tesuji is pretty awesome. Was back-to-back tesuji. So you would have to remember both of the moves here. So remember, when white goes down hanging like this, does something like this, that is the key move to its shape. And if white counters, that is the second key move to the shape. So there you go. And now, I think that's good for today, and I do leave you with a question here. Okay. This is a cool tesuji I found on the internet. I forgot which book it's from, but basically you have a situation here, okay? It's played out. And, I mean, this shape is not very common. I don't even know how you would get to this shape, but the outside shape of white is very common. Basically, you have a white group that's separated by 2 with this stone. So this is the key stone here, right? And let's say if black did something like this, if white did something like this, black would still save these stones, and then white would be, separated. And obviously you don't pay attention to the stones over here, just look at the board as if it was empty. And if white tried to push in like that, black can escape like this. Right? And then these stones are captured. So you definitely don't want to do that. So my question to you guys is, where can white go to capture that stone? It's definitely not here. I'll give you a clue. Definitely not here, because that will run the ladder. Alright, and then black is out. And I'll give you guys a clue. It is a net, and we'll talk about it in the next episode.